Taking its name and premise from the 1989 dark comedy classic, Peacock series The Burbs uses its predecessor's lore to craft a new but familiar tale. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen anyone drive their garbage down to the street and bang the hell out of it with a stick. Have you? A young couple moves back to the husband's childhood home, only to face threats from new neighbors and uncover dark secrets of their cul-de-sac. This new 8-episode first season stars Keke Palmer, Jack Whitehall, Julia Duffy, Paula Pell, Mark Proksch, Kapil Talwalkar, Erica Dasher, and Justin Kirk. Now, the show is entirely based on the same sort of idea as the Tom Hanks film from '89. Palmer and Whitehall play a young married couple who move back to this picture-perfect town and a picture-perfect cul-de-sac to raise their newborn in a quiet, less bustling environment than the city they came from. Now, once moved in, Palmer becomes intrigued by the large, dilapidated Victorian house that's across the street. Whitehall, he's cagey about who used to live there and then what happened to them. Once a new neighbor, though, moves into that Victorian, Palmer suspects that he's up to no good and may actually be a psychopath. The show is a comedic mystery that thrives thanks to the ensemble cast. Keke Palmer is the right amount of inquisitive, street smart, and snarky, so she inserts herself into conversations and situations that sometimes lead to tension, but mostly they lead to some humorous exchanges. And Jack Whitehall plays more of a supporting role here, not stealing the spotlight from Palmer, and a lot of the time even being relegated to the background in favor of the eccentric neighbors. And that's where Julia Duffy, Paula Pell, and Mark Proksch come in. They are each their own special kind of weird, creating awkward and sarcastic laughs on their own and then as a collective. And then once Palmer joins the group, who just happened to sit on Duffy's porch and drink wine all day while spying on the neighbors and gossiping, the entire environment and tone of the story becomes even more funny. Their shenanigans lead to all sorts of friction between neighbors, sometimes creating a little story tension, other times just creating more opportunities for some quick laughs. This would be a much more enjoyable street to live on, I think, than, say, Wisteria Lane. Now, I appreciate that the show hasn't forgotten its roots, bringing in a bunch of subtle, sometimes blatant, visual Easter eggs. I mean, most of them are so quick that you're going to blink and miss them, but they are cleverly included. And the suspense angle does work for the most part here. While it's not an incredibly deep mystery, there are enough twists and some redirects to add a little complexity to the storytelling. But they do reveal something just a little too soon, I thought. Guess though, it's kind of difficult, probably even more annoying had they dragged out portions just for the episode length rather than progressing the story along and then keeping it somewhat efficient. There are times, though, that the plot does feel as though it's meandering a bit, just lingering on conversations, even sequences that don't see any future fruition in this season. So that just creates unnecessary tangents and lulls that could have been kept out of the story. With that said, though, the last 2-ish episodes, they come across as an information dump, with the story just kind of attempting to throw all of these answers at us because they're running out of time, but they need to unveil a ton of facts so there aren't massive holes that are just left dangling. And for me, while the intrigue was fun and engaging, the real heart of the show is the ensemble cast and their dynamics that are both caring and dysfunctional, creating exaggerated personalities that aren't so out there that they're unbelievable. They're just a bit on the quirky and offbeat side of normal. And I could watch their antics for an entire show. Just give them weekly projects to insert themselves into, especially if they're intruding on other people's privacy, and then watch the strained and cringy conversations take place as the cast dryly deliver perfect punchlines. Then to complement all of the zaniness going on, RJ Cyler gets this supporting role as Palmer's brother. Now, he is hilarious and he blends perfectly with the suburbanites, despite being very much a city person. The show kept me entertained and wanting to watch more episodes. So the comedy, wit, and mystery, they ended up working. The story is incredibly complex, and the pacing certainly does have some issues, especially when it comes to spreading out information evenly across the episodes. But the cast as a whole is what makes this so endearing to watch. Keke Palmer is a solid lead, driving the storytelling with heart, intrigue, and some quick comedic timing. The storytelling goes on offshoots, focusing on areas that don't necessarily deserve equal attention. But despite these tangents, it creates a well-rounded group of characters, rich with background and camaraderie. All of the episodes drop at once, so this does make for a very easy and enjoyable binge. Now, the season leaves us on a cliffhanger, so here's hoping we get to revisit this kooky collection of neighbors. And then also remember, don't mess with suburbanites, because frankly, we're just not going to take it anymore. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give The Burbs 3.5 out of 5 couches. If you're looking for a new, easy show to binge, you might want to give this one a go. Okay, what's on your binge list right now? Anything compelling? I would love to get some recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.